It may shock you to hear this, but if you're seeing this right now, it's definitely no accident. A fierce energy surrounds you, defining you as the ultimate case of mess around and find out. There are those who have tested your limits, only to discover that their actions carry dire consequences. If you watch for at least 12 minutes, you confirm you're ready for the full scope of this urgent message. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, and comment 77 so the universe knows you're open. Then leave another comment, ready for what's next, in your natural tone. By doing this, you trigger immediate, tangible benefits and enter a new season of transformation. Chapter 1. You walked through chaos but stood your ground. You navigated conflict after conflict as though your life was a constant battleground. Each time you tried to find peace or normalcy, new obstacles arose. Financial struggles, broken promises, unexpected betrayals. It felt as if the universe was testing you, seeing how much chaos you could endure. At first, you doubted your capacity. You thought, I can't keep going like this. Yet each day you found a fresh reservoir of resolve hidden deep inside. The people around you might not have understood the magnitude of your battles. Some judged you as moody or distant. Others pitied you but offered no real assistance. Their misunderstanding made you question whether you were simply overreacting, but your spirit refused to let that notion take hold. Deep down, you sensed that forces beyond ordinary pettiness aimed to break your will. These energies tested not just your patience, but your moral fiber. Eventually, your perspective shifted, from seeing yourself as a victim to realizing you were a warrior. You stopped lamenting every setback as bad luck and started regarding them as stepping stones, each challenge honing your resilience. That mental shift changed how you carried yourself. Even in your toughest moments, you radiated an aura that said, I will not fall. This aura either intimidated those who tried to break you or attracted those who recognized your hidden strength. Ironically, you didn't wake up one day proclaiming yourself invincible. The realization grew slowly, each victory over adversity stacking up until you saw a pattern. No matter what came your way, you survived. It wasn't about never failing. It was about never staying down. You found solace in the idea that your faith, be it in God and moral justice or in your own destiny, served as armor. Each conflict only sharpened that armor, turning your vulnerability into a form of unstoppable power. This gritty path also exposed the illusions people rely on to manipulate or control. When you experience lies, gaslighting, or sabotage, you recognize them for what they were: feeble attempts to dim a light too bright to snuff out. Observers called you stubborn. You called it standing your ground. It baffled them how you could walk through so much chaos yet keep your dignity intact. You understood it as divine grace fueling your spirit, an alignment that no dark agenda could unravel. Now you see that all the chaos was forging you into something singular. You didn't sign up to be the living embodiment of mess around and find out, but you became it nonetheless. Each attempt to knock you down only rebounded, magnifying your authority over your life's narrative. The Matrix tries to push chosen ones into submission, but your soul rebelled. You concluded that if the world insisted on testing you, it would have to accept the consequences. In that acceptance, you radiate a silent warning to any would-be foes: meddle with you, and they'll discover your spirit cannot be crushed. Chapter 2. You're tired of games but refuse to back down. You reached a point of exhaustion from the mind games, the manipulations, and the endless petty drama swirling around you. If you had it your way, you'd live in peace, focusing on your goals and nurturing the relationships that genuinely matter. But the world seems committed to testing how far it can push you. You considered walking away from it all, abandoning certain circles, changing jobs, or relocating just to find relief. Yet you realize that running only gives the illusion of escape. The underlying challenges would reappear in a new guise. A part of you asked, why do they keep provoking me? Why can't they just let me live? The answer in your heart became crystal clear. Your very presence unsettles them. The light you carry, the destiny you're inching toward, it's a magnet for both admirers and adversaries. Those who can't stand your ascension poke at you, hoping to derail your progress. They're baffled that you remain standing after each storm. In their eyes, you should have folded under the pressure, but your spirit refused. In your quieter moments, you find yourself longing for a simpler life, free from these needless power plays. You see others coasting along without the same level of targeted chaos. Sometimes envy creeps in. Why can they just have it easy? But you catch yourself, recalling that your path is different because you're a chosen one. You're not destined for a passive existence. You're here to blaze a trail, to prove that no matter the opposition, your mission stands unshakable. That mission extends beyond your personal fulfillment. It's a beacon for others similarly tested. Yet acknowledging your calling doesn't mean you're never weary. The emotional toll is real. Some nights, you're tempted to let cynicism creep into your heart. You ask if the fight is worth it, and each time, you sense a quiet but forceful reply within, "Don't back down." That phrase echoes, reminding you that though you're drained, you haven't lost your spark. Something in you has always known you were built for bigger things, that your resilience isn't a flaw, but a feature. So you press on, even when fatigue sets in. You adopt many strategies to conserve energy, time alone to recharge, a selective approach to social events, or drawing lines with those who thrive on draining your positivity. Over the months, you see how these little strategies accumulate into something formidable. The Matrix tries to ensnare you with guilt or obligation. Don't you care about them? But you recognize that handing out unlimited emotional energy would sabotage your own purpose. Boundaries become your salvation, preventing you from losing yourself in other people's chaos. You might feel alone in these convictions, especially when the status quo insists on compliance. But you find that the moment you stop playing the game by their rules, you gain an edge. You don't owe them your downfall. You don't owe them compliance that leads to your stagnation. Instead, each refusal to cave exemplifies the spirit of mess around and find out. They messed around by testing you relentlessly. Now they find out that the one they deemed an easy target is anything but. This strength is no mere facade. It's rooted in divine alignment, fueling a refusal to back down no matter how drained or disillusioned you sometimes feel. Chapter 3. You're backed by a moral law larger than any offense. You realize there's a moral law, a spiritual principle that supersedes any petty or elaborate scheme your enemies devise. Some call it karma, others divine justice. Regardless of the label, it's an unwavering cosmic force that ensures wrongdoing eventually meets its reckoning. You've witnessed glimpses of it in your life, situations where someone tried to sabotage you only to watch the sabotage revert back onto them. You used to chalk it up to coincidence, but repeated patterns convinced you otherwise. The universe keeps tabs and it doesn't forget. This conviction that a higher law is at work not only comforts you but also emboldens you. You don't need to carry the burden of retribution. By trusting this cosmic principle, you free your energy from bitterness, focusing instead on what you came here to do: create, nurture, inspire, or lead. The Matrix mocks such faith, insisting the strong make their own justice. But you've seen ruthless individuals eventually fall under the weight of their own misdeeds. God's timing might not align with human impatience, but it never fails. In more than one instance, you narrowly escaped traps laid by those who thought they had you cornered. Sometimes it felt like sheer luck. You ran late to a meeting and avoided a calamity, or an urgent phone call pulled you out of a suspicious situation. Only after the fact did you realize how close you were to ruin. This repeated pattern taught you that you're protected by more than your own wits. You're shielded by a moral law that responds to your integrity with tangible safekeeping. That realization fosters a quiet assurance that no matter how cunning your foes, they cannot circumvent the grand design. Your enemy's success in the short term doesn't rattle you because you know illusions eventually collapse. This mindset isn't passive acceptance. You still stand up for yourself, but you do so without panic. It's like stepping onto a battlefield, confident that a hidden army flanks you from all sides. The tension in your muscles relaxes. You fight not from desperation, but from a calm sense of inevitability. That truth will prevail. That sense of inevitability can disorient your adversaries. They sense you're not easily provoked, that you no longer waste energy on small jabs. They might suspect you wield some hidden influence or a powerful ally behind the scenes. In truth, your ally is the cosmic principle that no act of malice goes unchecked. No good deed goes unrewarded. So you carry yourself with the bearing of someone unstoppable, radiating the motto, mess around and find out. Deep down, if they choose to test you, they're testing a force far larger than you, an ancient moral code that you abide by and that protects you in turn. Because of that alignment, each day holds potential for breakthroughs. You sense doors opening in your favor, not randomly, but as a direct extension of the law that sees your consistent sincerity. Meanwhile, your adversaries notice glitch after glitch in their plans. They can't name it, but they feel the law closing in. And so you stride forward, shielded by an intangible rule older than any civilization, unstoppable in your pursuit of destiny, and serenely confident that no offense held against you can sidestep the cosmic ledger, ensuring balance. Chapter 4. You overcame betrayals by turning anger into fuel. You've endured betrayal in its many forms, trusted allies flipping on you, family members choosing someone else's side, or mentors suddenly pulling the rug out from under you. The sting of such reversals can leave you feeling hollow, questioning your instincts. For a while, you might have internalized these betrayals, assuming you were at fault. But as the pattern repeated, you realized this was less about you and more about people's inability to handle the intensity of your spirit. They envied your unwavering will or felt threatened by your rising momentum. Eventually, anger brewed inside, a molten wave of frustration begging for release. You teetered on the edge of lashing out or slipping into despair. The Matrix loves to keep chosen ones stuck in bitterness, draining them of the vitality needed to fulfill their higher calling. Yet you chose differently. You decided to channel the anger, to let it sharpen your focus instead of fracturing your soul. You told yourself, if they think I'm about to collapse, they're in for a revelation. This transformation of anger into a constructive force wasn't immediate. You had to do some soul searching, maybe journaling or praying, to figure out how to harness the heat without burning yourself or others. You concluded that anger is energy, neutral in essence. It can corrode you from within or propel you forward, depending on how you direct it. Realizing this was an epiphany, from that day on, each betrayal became less a source of heartbreak and more a spark igniting your next bold move. Harnessed anger led to a surge in your productivity. Projects you had shelved out of self-doubt suddenly felt tangible. Work sessions stretched into the night, fueled by the determination to prove, to yourself more than anyone else, that you wouldn't be overshadowed by other people's disloyalty. Relationships, too, benefited from your new stance. No longer did you waste time trying to resurrect bonds that were irredeemably broken. Instead, you poured attention into those who reciprocated, forging deeper and more authentic connections. The anger that once threatened to poison you became a clarifying agent, purging fake attachments and illuminating who truly stood in your corner. Some onlookers found your energy intimidating. They whispered that you seemed colder or more driven than before. But you recognized that was just their discomfort with you stepping into the fullness of your power. That fullness radiated a silent warning. Mess around with me and you'll find out. You are not easily broken. This wasn't arrogance. It was a new baseline of self-respect, carved from the shards of betrayal. You discovered your spirit thrives when tested, emerging stronger and surer of its purpose. In the end, your enemies realized that each time they betrayed you, they inadvertently gave you more fuel. Their attempts to sabotage or humiliate you backfired spectacularly, forcing them to witness your unstoppable ascent. You walked away from the chaos feeling cleansed, no longer plagued by old resentments. Anger no longer consumed you. It propelled you. Freed from the weight of unresolved grudges, you found fresh space for creativity, joy, and even compassion for those too blind to see they were forging their own steel. This triumph over betrayal marked a crucial step in solidifying your role as the embodiment of mess around and find out. Chapter 5. You deflected dark agendas by reclaiming your space. Your opposition escalated beyond mere gossip and sniping to something unsettling, as if someone was manipulating your world or attempting a spiritual sabotage. In the past, you might have dismissed such notions as paranoia, yet with your heightened awareness, you sensed the real threat. Some adversaries had grown desperate enough to dabble in darker tactics. You'd heard that chosen ones often attract spiritual warfare precisely because of their divine purpose. Rather than succumbing to fear, you reclaimed your physical and energetic space. You might have smudged your home with sage, spoken protective affirmations, or prayed for divine covering. Some scoffed, but you knew logic alone wouldn't dispel malevolent forces. What shocked you was how fast these defenses worked. The headaches that used to strike at odd hours lifted. The anxiety that once paralyzed you eased. You felt lighter, as though a heavy cloud dissipated overnight. This proved that dark agendas only persist if you leave your spirit unguarded. Once you took a firm stand, declaring you wouldn't be anyone's puppet, those negative energies receded like an ebbing tide. Realizing how past failures stem from an unguarded spirit, you understood the matrix thrives when you're complacent. In earlier seasons, you let toxic friends linger, absorbing their negativity without filtering it. Or you allowed casual vibes in your home or workspace, unaware that open doors invite unwanted intruders. But your win against manipulative energies showed that boundaries are crucial, acting as a fortress around your newfound clarity. The moment you fortified your space, certain people started acting differently. Those who thrived on draining you complained about your distance or became passive-aggressive. You recognized their frustration as proof that your spiritual shield was blocking them from siphoning your essence. That's precisely what you wanted. An end to the vampiric dynamic that kept you from ascending to your fullest. Moreover, taking control of your space cleared room for blessings. Think of your energy like a garden. Past weeds stifled growth, but once removed, flowers flourished in the newfound sunlight. Similarly, purging negativity leaves fertile ground for your goals and dreams to thrive. You sense the universe preparing bigger gifts, new resources, fresh alliances, or rare opportunities, now that the static has been eliminated. By actively shielding your space, you protected yourself and created a clear runway for the blessings your expanded aura naturally attracts. Chapter 6. You're unbothered by fear of their retaliation. When word spread that your enemies might retaliate, concerned friends asked if you were afraid of provoking them by openly cutting ties and refusing their manipulations. Yet to your surprise, you felt an odd sense of calm. You recognized that fear was the last weapon in your adversary's arsenal. By not succumbing, you withheld their final means of control. In the past, you might have cowered, changing routines or tiptoeing around them. But recent events proved their tactics were running on fumes. They tried everything, from character assassination to covert sabotage, only to be foiled by your unwavering resolve. Retaliation is often a desperate gambit by those who've run out of real leverage. You let them stew, unshaken by nebulous threats. This mindset shift meant you no longer played defense. Instead of being anxious, you pressed forward, nurturing creative projects, investing in relationships, and building the future you envisioned. If your opponents truly had the power to destroy you, they would have done so already. Their repeated failures were proof of their hollow bravado. You refused to let them define your emotional weather, choosing to live boldly rather than cower in their shadow. Even the Matrix's fear programming lost its grip. You tested your boundaries, posting bold statements, joining high-visibility endeavors, acts you once avoided for fear of attracting backlash, now you freely sought. Let them try. Each sabotage attempt so far had paradoxically boosted your reputation or opened new doors. Such is the nature of divine positioning. Adversity can't dim your light, it only intensifies it. Onlookers who once urged caution now questioned your coolness, seeing it as recklessness. They didn't understand your deep sense of divine law, your assurance of protection from anything not aligned with your higher purpose. Future battles might arise, but you've proven you could handle them with grace. This quiet composure is what sets chosen ones apart. Not a threat-free life, but a refusal to let threats derail you. If your adversaries mount a final offensive, you remain unblinking, watching as their illusions crumble against your unyielding authenticity. You've demonstrated resilience too many times for them to hope fear might shake you now. Each day, your calm magnifies your authority. Ironically, they fear you, your ability to flourish despite their traps, your divine favor, and the stark realization of their own powerlessness. This is the harvest of testing someone who embodies mess around and find out to its fullest. Chapter 7. You declare your victory and expand fearlessly. Now you stand on the threshold of an era that's no longer about mere survival, but about thriving beyond your prior limits. You've confronted illusions, endured relentless adversity, and transformed anger into a driving force. Each lesson gleaned under pressure has equipped you for a bold expansion that leaves no room for self-doubt. This is the moment to declare your victory, not in a boasting manner, but as a calm statement of truth. You are no one's victim. You won't hide under the memory of past conflicts. Mess around and find out resonates as your personal slogan. You don't seek chaos, but you're ready to defend your path. By stating this, you're not courting drama, but affirming your readiness to handle any challenge. Some might worry you're provoking trouble, but challenges arise whether you speak up or not. Your open declaration sets a spiritual boundary. Any sabotage will fail before it starts. This energy attracts new alliances as strong individuals step forward, while others fade away or reveal insecurities. In practical terms, you're ready to take calculated risks, signing up for advanced certifications, pitching massive projects, or considering bold relocations. You're not reckless. You refuse to let invisible barriers hold you back. Each step beyond your comfort zone reveals how limited your old perspective was. The matrix fosters fear of failure or ridicule, but your spirit counters with the knowledge that you have weathered bigger storms. This fearless expansion also inspires others. Some will quietly confide their feelings of being stuck and ask how you broke free. Your path wasn't just for you. It's a beacon for those behind you. You share insights not as a guru, but as a survivor who discovered your own power. The satisfaction is in witnessing how your private battles yield public blessings, forging a ripple effect that dispels illusions for many. Now you move forward, eyes bright with anticipation, refusing to cower. Emotional warfare and sabotage didn't break you. They forged a version of you that fear cannot paralyze and negative forces cannot handle. By embodying mess around and find out, you become unstoppable, merging grit, divine favor, and moral conviction. The universe stands ready to reward you with expansions you once only imagined, satisfied that your bold spirit and unwavering heart have proven themselves worthy of a kingdom no enemy can conquer. This triumph stands as a testament to your rise, O inspiring souls everywhere.